Jai Jagannath dosto. So today we discuss about AC motor and what are the types of AC motor. So there are basically two types of AC motor we use. One is asynchronous motor and another is synchronous motor. So now we discuss about asynchronous motor. This asynchronous motor is also known as induction motor. And this induction motor again two types. One is single phase induction motor and another is three phase induction motor. So now we discuss about single phase induction motor. So this single phase induction motor is of six types. So one is split phase induction motor, second is capacitor start induction motor, third is capacitor start capacitor run induction motor, fourth is permanent split capacitor induction motor, fifth is saddle pole induction motor, and sixth is repulsion start induction motor. So now we discuss about split phase induction motor. This split phase induction motor also known as resistance start induction motor. The induction motor in which we use a resistance to making the self starting the motor we call split phase induction motor or a resistance start induction motor. And this resistance start or split phase induction motor having two windings, one is main winding and another is the auxiliary winding. So both the windings are placed 90 degree to each other. So the main winding have the high inductive reactance and a low resistance value. The auxiliary or starting winding have the low reactance value and high resistance value. So these motors we use where we need low starting current and moderate starting torque. These motors are used in various applications like in fans, centrifugal pumps, washing machines, etc. So now we discuss about capacitor start induction motor. The induction motor in which a capacitor we use to make the starting the motor we call capacitor start induction motor. So in this motor the capacitor is connected in series with the auxiliary winding. So basically these motors are we use where we require high inertia and frequent starting. So we use these motors in various applications like in compressor, refrigerator and conveyor, etc. So now we discuss about capacitor start capacitor run induction motor. This capacitor start capacitor run induction motor is also known as two value capacitor motor because in this motor we use two capacitors to creating a rotating magnetic field to make the self starting the motor. In this motor both the capacitors are connected with the auxiliary windings. These motors we require where we need high starting torque, means in heavy duty applications like in pumping equipment, refrigeration and air compressor, etc. So now we discuss about permanent split capacitor induction motor. The induction motor in which a single capacitor is permanently connected in series with the auxiliary winding of the motor we call permanent split capacitor induction motor. So these motors not require any centrifugal switches. So these motors have some limitations like we can't use any electrolytic capacitors. So therefore we use paper spaced oil field type capacitors which are more expensive. And another limitation is that it have low starting torque. So these motors have various applications like in office machinery, water heater, air conditioner, etc. So now we discuss about saddle pole induction motor. So it is a self-starting single-phase induction motor, and in this induction motor, the poles are shaded by copper rings, and these copper rings act as a secondary winding of the motor. As this motor is a self-starting, so we are not required any capacitor in this motor, and these motors have low starting torque with low power factor. So we use these motors in small electronic applications like in table fan, exhaust fan, and electronic clock, etc. So now we discuss about repulsion start induction motor. So this repulsion start induction motor is the combination of repulsion motor and single phase induction motor. So these motors have some characteristics like it have high starting torque, constant speed of rotor and no required of any centrifugal switches. These motors have some disadvantages like these motors are high expensive and require high maintenance. So we use these motors in applications like in commercial refrigerators, drilling machines and printing presses, etc.